Hey, welcome! Today we're diving into something we all grapple with, this strange, beautiful, and sometimes scary fact that our lives are temporary. How do we not just live with that, but find real wisdom in it? Let's get into it.
So right off the bat, here's the question at the heart of it all. And this isn't some abstract philosophical puzzle. No, this is a practical question. It's asking, how do you get up in the morning? How do you love people? How do you make plans, knowing that nothing, absolutely nothing, is permanent? That's what we're going to unpack together.
And to really get our heads around that, we first have to sit with this fundamental tension, this quiet little paradox that runs right through the center of what it means to be human.
Think about it like this. You've got these two powerful truths, and they seem to completely contradict each other. On one side, you have this finite life. Everything changes. Things break, people leave, it all ends. But then, on the other side, you've got this infinite feeling capacity for love, for connection, for finding meaning. It's like we're these temporary vessels holding something that feels absolutely boundless.
Okay, so if that's the setup, what's the game plan? How do we live inside that paradox? Well, the answer isn't what you might think. It's not about building up walls to protect yourself from getting hurt. It's actually the complete opposite. It's about deciding to participate, to dive in and engage with life fully, even when you know it's going to come with some pain.
So how do we actually do that? Well, there are 5 key ideas, 5 principles that can guide us. First, we have to accept that pain isn't some kind of flaw. Then, we need to really understand what unconditional love means in this context. Third, we can learn to see our emotions as our greatest teachers. Fourth, we realize we have to create our own meaning. And finally, we let the very fact that life is short make our love for it that much more precious. All right, this first one is a total game changer. Think about grief, loss, fear. We usually see these as problems to be solved, right? But what if they're not? What if they are simply the price of admission for a life of connection? They're the cost of caring. You can't have one without the other. I mean, a life without any grief would also have to be a life completely without love. And that leads us to a whole new way of thinking about unconditional love. Maybe it's not about loving someone no matter what they do. Maybe, in a world that's always changing, it's about loving someone without demanding that they or the situation stay the same forever. It's looking at the temporary nature of everything and still consciously saying, you know what? I choose to love anyway. That choice, that's where the power is. Which brings us to our emotions. We're so often taught to fight them or fix them, but what if they're not enemies? What if they're teachers? Sadness isn't just pain. It's a lesson in how to be tender with ourselves and others. Loss isn't just an emptiness. It's a profound reminder to be present right now. Joy teaches gratitude, and even fear can teach us a little bit of humility. They're not in the way, they are the way.
And this is just the perfect metaphor for how to work with those teachers. We have this fear that if we really let ourselves feel something big, like grief, we'll just drown in it. But this suggests the exact opposite is true. You don't drown from the wave of emotion itself. You drown from exhausting yourself fighting it, trying to hold it back. The trick is to learn how to let it wash over you and pass through.
So what about meaning? Where do we find our worth in all of this? Well, the idea here is that you don't find it, you build it. And you build it out of small, everyday things. Your true worth isn't about your accomplishments. It's about how gently you treated people, how honestly you were able to look at your own pain, how many times you chose to actually feel something instead of just going numb, and how often you were truly present for the simple, ordinary moments.
And that brings us right back to the beginning. This final idea flips the whole script on impermanence. We think of it as a curse, but it's actually what makes love so precious. It's what gives it weight, right? If you had forever, no single moment would feel all that special. It's because every conversation is one of a kind, because every hug could be the last, that these moments become sacred. Our limited time is what makes our love matter so damn much.
Now, when you start to live this way, when you open up to both the joy and the heartbreak, it can create this wild mix of feelings. You might feel happy and sad and scared and full of wonder all at the same time. And it's easy to think, wow, I'm so confused. But what if that's not confusion at all? What if that feeling is actually the clearest you've ever been? Because when you feel all of that at once, it means you're touching the raw, unfiltered truth of what it is to be alive. You're standing right in the heart of that paradox we talked about, that life is unbelievably fragile, and at the exact same time, it's profoundly sacred. You're not supposed to figure it out, you're just meant to experience it.
So let's put some words to those feelings. That sadness you feel, that just means you care. It's a testament to your love. The fear, it means you're not asleep at the wheel. You're awake to how precious and precarious this all is. The happiness,
is just the simple proof that you are alive. And that feeling of wonder, that's you making contact with something deeply, undeniably real.
This really just sums it all up perfectly. Life isn't about chasing one and avoiding the other. Think about it. A life that was only ever joyful would feel kind of shallow, wouldn't it? And a life that was only ever painful would be completely unbearable. But when you put them together, the light and the dark, that's where meaning is born.
So, as we wrap up, what's the big takeaway? It's that the point of all this isn't to find some neat and tidy answer that solves the problem of being human. The goal is much simpler, and also much harder. It's about cultivating the courage to just stay open.
And it starts with this simple but incredibly brave instruction. Don't hedge your bets. Love with your whole heart.
And next, it asks you to be honest with yourself, to feel what you're actually feeling without trying to numb it or pretend it's something else.
And when loss eventually comes, and it always does, the invitation is to grieve openly, to let your heart break. That's not a sign of weakness, it's how you honor what you loved.
And all of this is wrapped up in this one final commitment to make the choice again and again, to stay open, even when every instinct is telling you to shut down because it hurts.
And that's really the heart of it all. Choosing to stay open, to stay vulnerable, in a world where goodbyes are guaranteed, that isn't weakness. That is the definition of courage. And you know what? It is enough. It is enough to live a beautiful, worthy, and meaningful life.
So we'll leave you with a question to take with you. Not about your whole life, just about today. In your world, right now, what's one small way you could practice this courage? What does it mean for you to stay open, just for today?